Mm.
All right. So I'm going to pull my little script over here
Yep.
and I'm going to do a little introduction and then I'm going to introduce Brigitte Visser, correct?
Correct.
Visser.
Yes, sir. Yes. Do you want me to close my sliding doors just in case?
That would be great. Yeah.
Yep. Gonna do that right now.
And then after I say your name, thank you for being here. So good to be here, all that. Um, then I read a little bit of a bio for you, and then
Yep.
we're rolling.
Cool.
Sound good?
Yep.
All right. So here we go.
I just before you start, I just have to say, do you know what the song that comes into my mind? You're gonna
What's
think
that?
I'm a freak. Here come the man in blue.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, you know what song has been in my head all week long? So my wife and I watched the Back to the Future trilogy this last
Yeah, yeah,
weekend.
yeah.
And so I've got Huey Lewis in the News like in my head all week long. And I dare you to listen to the song Back in Time and not feel happy inside.
How does it go again?
You got to get back in time. You know the whole thing. Dun 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 dun
Yeah, that's right.
dun dun dun. You see the DeLorean, it flies around and it comes right up into the screen and again it goes dun 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 dun, and you're just like so yeah, see, it's a happy song.
Yes, it is.
All right, here we go. Five, four, three. Welcome to the Mindful Mutiny podcast. I'm Jeremy Van Wert. I'm a healer and a transformational coach. My mission is to change lives from stress to joy, from stagnation to momentum, and from burnout to hope. Mindful Mutiny is a podcast about people who are thoughtfully rebelling against the status quo and living their highest potential. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the Mindful Mutiny podcast. That is how we are on our way to growing. And today we have a really wonderful guest that I've been looking forward to interviewing for a really long time, Brigitte Visser. How are you?
I'm good. I'm in your blue room.
Yeah, you know what? I did do a lot of blue today, and I just realized that when you pointed it out. Brigitte Visser is a soul empowerment coach, divine channel, and light language healer who delivers profound messages from master teachers across the multiverse to assist humanity. Brigitte is the author of the book Become Empowered: Echoes of Strength and Grace. Her life is marked by a spectrum of experiences ranging from deep trauma to intense joy, and it has been a journey of resilience and self discovery. Through her own struggles from childhood abuse and personal losses to overcoming adversities in the modeling industry and beyond, Brigitte has absorbed invaluable lessons, transforming hardship into wisdom. Today, she leverages her lessons and spiritual insights to guide others towards unblocking their inner strength and becoming their authentic selves. Brigitte's work inspires us to embrace the true essence of ourselves, shed past burdens, and step into our empowerment and radiant joy. And so, with all of this, you've got books, you've got coaching, you've got different things. Tell us what you do, Brigitte.
Wow, that was a really nice intro. Are you sure that's me?
Well, it is. You wrote the
So,
books.
sorry?
You wrote the books.
I did. I've got like I said, this year it's going to be three of them. That's insane.
Oh my gosh. Well,
I know.
fantastic. And there's so many things here that I want to really dig into because it's a soul empowerment coach,
Yeah.
divine channel, and light language healer, and master teachers across the multiverse. Can you explain to a listener who's not familiar with what any of this is? What are we talking about here? What do you do?
So in plain lingo, from gerbil language to plain lingo, I so I'll break it down. So soul empowerment coach says it in the wording really. It's all about empowering ourselves. taking back control of our lives because we give our power away so often and we don't even realize it. And by taking back our power, and I always say our I am power, returning to the essence of who we truly are and who we can most authentically become. It's all about unbecoming to becoming. And we peel back the layers of the pain, of the hurt of our experiences, and return to our wholesome nature. And it's all about returning to that love for ourselves. So it's empowering our soul to live a fulfilled life and returning to the grid of our existence and feeling comfortable in our own skin. That's what that's about.
I just want to cut into all of that because when you're talking about the concept of giving our power away,
Mm.
I see that so much. And I recognize in my own life when I have given my own power away. And now that I can recognize the ways in which I've done it in myself, I really enjoy working with people, helping them let go of it. And so what that brings up for me is giving your power away. You can do that in so many different ways. You can do that in a relationship. You
Yes.
can do that with the work that you do,
Mhm.
the company that you work for,
Oh,
where
yes.
you trade your personal value for money, which can be a good deal. It also can be a terrible deal for you. But there's many different ways in which we we give so many parts of ourselves away, and the worst part of it is when we're really giving away our 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 soul in certain ways. If I'm kind of explaining this, our energy, our energetic
Mhm.
force that we're putting into things that are not reciprocating. Is that a lot of what you kind of deal with people?
Yeah. And, all that you mentioned, yeah, I've been there, done that, worn the t-shirt, heaven knows how many times. But especially when we work for a corporate company, it's like, oh, it's the drug. The money is the drug that keeps us going because we'll have to pay our bills. And we are so stuck living in this created societal paradigm. If you want to call it the matrix, that's fine. Same thing. That we've deviated so far from our own awareness. We just live through the motions of living life and actually being lived. That's what we are doing rather than listening to the song of our own heart and understanding that there is so much more to life than we can actually fathom. And giving our power away, we do it every single day. And you're right, in relationships as well. It's very much a tit for tat. I always say it's like a legal contract with endless clauses. You cannot do this. You cannot do that. Oh, but oh no, no, no. And why are you saying that? I'm sorry, just accept one another as you are. Embrace each other, love one another. And even if you don't agree, stop bashing with the ego. That is what we do. It's the ego that always takes the front seat. Yeah. And the mind, we ingest so much with our mind, so much noise. And it's like drown out the noise and listen to the soul, your soul within. Yeah, you've actually gagged and bound your soul, and the ego is sitting very much boisterous, oh, in driver's seat. And we live in this world full of comparisons, and we are so afraid. My guides always tell me this. Are you afraid to live? Or are you afraid to die? Or is it both? And the truth of the matter is, Jeremy, we're actually being lived rather than actually living life and living that with passion and enjoy. It is the fear that holds us back. And I always say with the fear, it's that smooth criminal, right? That runs amok in our mind that is having a whale of a time, causing us so much havoc and so much dis-ease within ourselves.
You mentioned fear, and fear is a topic that I've actually explored a great deal in talking about fear as a motivator. And
Yes. Mm.
it's something that can be so tremendously prevalent. And I've known relationships that have been tremendously impacted and even ruined by one or both people having various different forms of fear, fear of the world, fear of each other, fear of themselves, and these sorts of things. And fear is so tremendously corrosive. And do you work with people on helping them eliminate their fear?
Yes, I've helped people with that, but sometimes they also have to work through their own trauma. Now, remember, you're a coach, a healer, just like me, but we're only tools in the toolbox. At the end of the day, the person sitting in front of you has all the tools within themselves, the potential to heal themselves. And we're just that tool in the toolbox, lending a helping hand and making them see that there is a different way of shifting their mindset, because it's all about very, very simple. In quantum physics, change your thinking, change your life. And people will say, yeah, but it's not that easy. Yeah, well, if it's not that easy, what about taking that first step, looking at yourself in the mirror, rather than saying, well, he did this and she did that. Why are they saying that about me? Well, here's a kicker. If I hold up a mirror to you, you are pointing at yourself. Take responsibility for your life. Remember that you are a beautiful soul, but you have to take responsibility and heal these experiences. If you want to live a more fulfilled life, you have to do the work.
These light beings that you speak with, you're talking about talking with people that are through the multiverse
Yeah.
and this kind of thing. Can you talk about who who you communicate with and how they work within humanity?
Oh, so I mean that is broad, for everyone that works with them differently.
Well, you've got 90
And
seconds to answer that question. So,
oh, all right, I'll better be Speedy Gonzalez. No, I mean, I'm very humble to do the light language. And people, for instance, let me just break that down for you, light language, because you have spiritual healing, Reiki, any type of modality. Light language is something completely different. It's an ancient modality, so to speak, and it's communicating with whoever comes through to me. Sometimes it's the archangels, sometimes it's the ascended masters, many of the light beings, the Pleiadians, the Syrians. I had light beings come through yesterday on a podcast, and I have no idea who they were. Totally new to me. And that happens. And I always think, oh, this is great. I love it. So on a conscience level with light language, you are not going to understand it. I always say it sounds like gerbil language or minion language, and that's okay. But on a soul level, your soul understands these codes just beautifully, and that is what it's all about. And as far as like channeling, it's the same thing. I'm just a courier, I'm just a messenger. I'm like a bike messenger because I'm Dutch. I just ride these cosmic waves and they just come through. And I can sit down these days and just ask a question to whoever, and I will get a response. And it's great.
and so when you're what would do you ask questions and then the the beings that are relevant
Mhm.
come forward to assist? And are these like guardian angels at some of them? How many different types of are there?
Oh, there's different types. So we have guardian angels, we've got guides, and guides come to assist us in certain periods of our lives. Some have the same guides, and some will swap as you evolve. And then you can call upon the archangels for help, the ascended masters, the gods, the deities, and even the galactics. So, I mean, come on, Jeremy, there are more species than in the whole of the galaxy than the hairs on our head.
It's I know there are, and it's kind of fascinating how little all of that is considered in, our civilization and in our society, but these these feelings, these senses that we have are
Mhm.
things that we've learned to kind of block out
Yes.
the signs and the sense of these, like our sixth sense, as you will,
Mm.
and I've had things happen in my life where there are undeniable signs of the beyond, just absolutely undeniable. And so when in your life did you start experiencing things that are different than the normal terrestrial perceptions that we have?
I think even as a child, I do remember having an experience, and she must have been one of my guides, and I was about 6 years old. And she was like a school teacher, funny hair, funny haircut, and big glasses. And she was kind of really weird, like attached like a silver cord. And I just cannot remember. I do remember her, but I cannot really remember what she said. But as we grow up, as we grow older, we tuck that away. And so I guess for me to remember was to go through tons of trauma and find a way back home to myself, so that I could hear these messages again. And it took many, many years, really many years. And I'm just blessed to be able to sense them. That doesn't mean, Jeremy, that see them all the time. Sometimes I see them. I've seen Archangel Michael a few weeks ago, and phew, I was blown away. He's hilarious. He's like somebody you would have a beer with, a Jack the Lad. But that's how he comes across to me. And to other people, he may come across differently, and that is okay. It's just they mostly have a sense of humor.
Why do you think that, this awareness that you're
Mm.
talking about is something that for so many cultures has been pivotal, has been important for the development of a human being through
Yes.
the, you know, history of mankind. And now there is such a lack of awareness, attention, importance that is placed upon this perception. And so, I'm seeing more and more of these videos of, parents that are saying, my 3-year-old started saying some things that were really strange to me, things that they would have never experienced in their lives, things that talking about maybe beings that are in their rooms that are not there, right? Or really strong memories
Yeah.
of a lifetime before.
Mhm.
And our current civilization tends to turn away from those. And so by the time that a child is about 5, they're learning how to not see those things anymore. They're learning that their imaginary friend is imaginary. They're learning these things, and so they stop. It's like the blinders go over them.
Yeah.
Why do you think in our society that
Mhm.
this has become the standard of how to interact with our world?
By design. Yeah. That's what it is. It's by design. And we've come here, uh, right? We've come here to illuminate, uh, the world. And we can only do that one spark at a time. So these 3-year-olds that see things, when the parents are like, well, what is this? It's rather they should nurture it, but they are so afraid of it themselves because we've been shut down. We live in this, and that is what I always say, Jeremy. Terra is earth. Yeah. Terrarium. We live in this glass box, and we've been put in there, and it's like we're being experimented on. And we have to figure a way out of that insane asylum and wake up and realize that there is so much more to life, because life, as the Ascended Master Saint Germain always says, is merely a return to love, nothing more, nothing less. And as Archangel Michael always says, we're here to walk one another back home to that love and that light of ourselves and each other. But instead, and don't get me wrong, the world is changing. And it will change, but it's going to take some time. And more people are starting to realize that there is more to life, and they're starting to awaken. They're starting to search, and I think that is absolutely brilliant. And everyone that puts information out there carries a piece of that puzzle. But yes, I mean, let's face it, we work to pay our bills. Yeah. And I always say this, Earth, oh, that's the only planet in the galaxy where you have to pay, where you have to, when you incarnate, you have to pay to live there.
I'm traveling as you're talking, and I'm thinking about the ways in which the scales are falling from people's eyes right now, that there's this wonderful great awakening that's occurring
Yes.
right now. And COVID was a major pay no attention to the man behind that curtain moment when we're like,
Yes.
wait a minute, no, are we all being lied to about
Yes.
everything? And day after day after day at this point, more and more is just revealed of things that we always thought were one way that are totally a different way. Do you know that yesterday, and this is for everybody, this is being filmed in May of 2024. There's confirmation now that tick-borne illnesses are the result of ticks being infected with experimental viruses that in the
Mhm.
1960s that were meant to fight communism or something like that. And now we have all of these people with these devastating autoimmune disorders
Mhm.
from these ticks that just happen to have these autoimmune disorder related viruses that were right around the lab that was studying this sort of thing. It sounds oddly familiar to a newer story, right? But it's things like this where you go, wow, everything is a facade. Everything that we've come to to believe in as citizens of the earth during this time. And so this awakening, I'm seeing more and more people looking at that paradigm of I'm doing 50 hours of work a week.
Yeah.
I go on vacation for 2 weeks a year. I might have a barbecue on the weekend, but Sunday sucks because I got to think about Monday, right? And the cars are great. The houses are so-so. But there's this sense of what really am I doing in this world now? That virtually everything is upside down from what I thought it was. And this great awakening, are you seeing people handling it in a constructive way? Are you seeing people struggle with it?
Yeah. I see a lot of people struggle with it. A lot of people suffer, and that is because they are meant to shift their consciousness. And that is why they are struggling, because they don't understand. They see what's going on, but many people are still influenced by what they see on their television. And that is just very true. Everything is just an illusion. And what you feed your mind is exactly what you what you choose to believe, and what will filter into your reality and bleed into your environment. See, I don't have a TV, and I live in my own little cosmic bubble, and I'm happy there. People will say, but why don't you keep up with it? Well, why should I when it's all an illusion? You're just being fed what you believe to be a reality, but is in fact not real at all. And we're so stuck in the ego and comparing ourselves to one another. We're judging one another. We're so opinionated. And why do we do that? You know, if we realize that we were all one, because that is what we are, we're this consciousness in this body, in this beautiful body that we've been given. And yet we look at ourselves saying, yeah, but I want to look like that. I'm not happy with myself. Well, why don't you just accept yourself as you are and love yourself and nourish your spirit? And that is so hard these days. And that is why there is so much chaos. But I always say, amidst the chaos, there is so much beauty in transformation. And that is really key. And I know, as I said, a lot of people are suffering, but eventually, yes, some will remain in their suffering, in that victimhood, unable to move forward and unable to change. But there are others that will make these necessary changes. And as far as COVID goes, yes, it really bombed in their faces because they thought, oh, we can control the people. As the Ascended Master Saint Germain says about it, well, you can split it in two words, COVID. And he goes, listen up, everyone. Your cooperation is required to watch these CDOs to brainwash you into believing that whatever is happening in the world with this virus is real, and it's not real. It's an illusion. And it's all to keep you in control. But why are you allowing yourself to be controlled when you should be reigning in your I am power and standing in your beautiful, radiant light, living a life fulfilled? Yeah, and that is one of these things. We just give our power away because we believe everything that we're told. And then we get stuck in this fear, this incredible fear. And as you know, fear, right, means false evidence appearing real, or as my guides say, it means either falling endlessly or arising revolutionary.
Can you talk about the role? Because I'm thinking about this COVID. I'm thinking about lies. I'm thinking about destroyed relationships. I'm thinking about the trauma of losing loved ones, the
Yep.
trauma now of people being injured by
Yeah.
um by by long COVID and by
Yes.
a medical thing that was required by a lot of people. And now people are having to deal with a great deal of sickness and grief and all of these things. Can you talk about the role of pain and emotional trauma in a life and how that links with a spiritual journey? I have a number of clients who are angry with God for things that have happened that are terrible and unjustified in their lives.
Mm, that's a very interesting one. And so
I
whatever
ask
I
the
think,
easy questions.
yeah, that's it. No, but you're right. I I understand, but it's also, hey ho. First of all, yeah, God is, I call him the divine orchestrator,
Yeah,
but it doesn't really matter.
sure.
We are an extension of God, of the light of God. Yeah, we are
Mhm.
creators. What we think we create. And when we go through these challenges, this pain and this trauma, okay, sorry, yeah, they're saying turn that into triumph. Yeah, use the stepping stones of your pain, turning them into wisdom and understanding why you are going through this pain and this trauma. That is the difference. You want to be angry at yourself, or not, I mean at God, you're actually angry at yourself because this is how you vent your frustration and your anger. But what are you going to do about it? Are you going to remain angry? Yeah. What people do not realize, and this is something I talk about a lot, we are divine alchemists. Yeah. So our pain, that lead, that heaviness, we can turn that into wisdom and understanding, becoming that gold and that enlightenment and understanding. Hey, you know what? I understand why I went through this, but I also understand that I need to take that responsibility to heal. Because if you keep pointing the finger, and being angry, and how do you call that in English? The blame game. What are you going to achieve? Nothing. You're just going to be drowning in your own quicksand. And yes, I know people have suffered and people have become ill. And ill actually means we're imbalanced of love and light. That's exactly what it is, because we deflect our pain. We play whack-a-mole with our emotions. We run and we hide. We play Houdini. That is what we do. And for the record, Jeremy, my life has been marred by trauma. Yeah, I could have remained in that victimhood and decided, okay, you know what? Why is this happening to me? Why am I not happy? And I was mad a lot of the time until I realized I had to take that responsibility and look at the pain and the fragments within me and understand how to heal that. And I didn't come here with a cheat sheet. Just because I was molested when I was a kid, I was bullied in high school, lost my dad when I was 14. I was starving myself. That was my coping mechanism. I worked like an idiot many, many hours a week. I, I nearly killed myself doing drugs for several months. I lost my stepdad when I was 25. I mean, I was molested or assaulted in the modeling industry. I had dysfunctional relationships. And I look back and I can tell you this. I am so thankful for everything that I have been through. Even as a child, I have forgiven myself. I have forgiven the other person. And I'm just grateful for everything that I've been through. Taking that responsibility and looking at myself, reevaluating my life and healing and having become the person that I am today. And that doesn't mean that I'm not going through, the rough and tumble, but I'm conscious of it. And when you start being conscious of your experiences rather than walking around with a horse that with blinkers, then you start to understand life. But you have to walk through the darkness in order to see the light.
Mm. So your own experience is one of physical trauma early in life, and I imagine that at those times it was very difficult to be in touch with kind of the spiritual walk of yourself.
Mhm.
There was a separation between you and your natural gifts because you were in a survival space. You were trying
Yes.
to get yourself to be safe.
Yes.
And you go into the modeling industry, and I don't know anything about the modeling
Oh,
industry, but I imagine that there's plenty of, like in any industry, people there to take advantage of others.
oh, there's a lot of jealousy. It's very superficial. It's far more superficial than the polish on your nails. It's a cattle market. I was continuously rejected. They didn't like my look. Then I was too old. I was compared to Brooke Shields, Linda Evangelista, and I thought, well, that's great, isn't it? But no, no. Every time I was rejected. But that didn't deter me. I mean, I've moved more times than my age, and I'm 50 in June. And I just needed to find myself. And it doesn't matter how you decide to find yourself, how you decide to heal. That is entirely up to you. But never, never remain sitting by the side of the road, crying your eyes out, remaining in that victimhood, because does it serve you?
Were there times in your life where you were kind of stuck there?
Yes.
Mm.
Yes, yes, I
Mm.
was.
Yeah.
I was. But I still got up every single day to work. And I think for me, I had no self-worth.
Mm,
Honestly, I looked in the mirror and just saw some ugly face. That is how I felt.
mm,
And the dysfunctional relationships I rolled in was solely because I was so broken within myself. So I found other broken birds, trying to fix them up and trying to please them and making sure that they were okay. Trying really trying to fix them and doing everything for them. But I was beating myself up. I was remaining living in the shadows of myself. And actually, they were beautiful triggers. Beautiful triggers. But sometimes you don't get it straight away. So then you get another character in your life, and the universe is like, oh, let's see. Let's see if she gets it this time. Well, it took a few times until I really hit rock bottom in 2009. And then I hit it again several years later. But, there's so much beauty in pain, even though when you're right bang in the middle of it, you don't see it. But when you come out the other side and you take that first step to wanting to change your life and really heal the broken aspects within yourself, and actually it's the mind, right? Because we stick everything in the archives of our mind, and you will see once you start on that healing journey, life will become so much more beautiful because you change the energy within, so the energy without changes as well. Your focus shifts. So rather than plotting in your head and being in this Freddy Krueger movie of yourself, right? You shift that perspective.
one of the things that happens when you're in a helping and healing profession is that you attract people with the wounds that you have. And so I imagine that you attract people who have these old wounds that you have had. And, with that, for the person who has suffered this kind of trauma, where do you see those wounds spiritually in the person? Because I know that you read people, you scan them and everything. Where are these wounds, and how do people work on the soul healing that's involved from a trauma like sexual abuse?
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's a lot of forgiveness, first of all. So I could see it. It depends who I'm working with. But for some, it's in their energy field. There could even be remnants in a past life, and that would need to be healed. It could be blocks in their energy system. So that's how I scan for it. And these are things that I can clear, but the rest is still up to them. It's it's helping them taking that first step and then, continuing on their journey. And there's so many things. It's not just light language. I mean, I used to use in the past, I used EFT, emotional freedom technique, which I loved as well. So simple, yet so powerful. But these days, it's really, for me, it's light language. It's only because I've just evolved and I love using that modality. And when I do my light language, I will often get messages through as well.
And when you see people begin to heal, and when you started
Yeah.
healing, were you beginning to get more in touch with your natural gifts again?
Oh, yeah, it still took a few years, but I did study Reiki. I became a Reiki master. It took me several years. I studied many healing modalities after I hit a rock bottom with my ex in 2009 because he was a part-time crack addict. He landed in bed with the Crips in Holland, and I did save. I I helped the police save him, and my mom took me out of Holland in the space of a few days, and I rented an apartment back in the UK. And then the leader of the Crips, he phoned me and he said, if I ever find you, I'm going to kill you. And he's like, if I ever find your ex, You will never find them because you'll be dead in a ditch somewhere. That really shook me to my core. And the guy is now in prison. It was the biggest prosecution case Holland has ever seen. It took many years before he was locked up. But my ex is doing really well right now. He's turned his life around.
Well, I'm good to
Uh,
hear. Glad to hear that.
but for me,
I didn't
you
think
know,
we'd be talking about the Crips.
the Dutch Crips. Yes, but it shook me to my core, and I was very much in this fight or flight mode as it was already in survival mode. And so when I got to the UK, I dialed a whole box of ibuprofens. It was a very lame attempt at my own life, but I was so far gone that the next day, my mom just said to me, Brigitte, go and see a counselor. So when I went to see that counselor, this lady said, oh, don't get me wrong, she's very nice. But at the end of the conversation, she's like, Brigitte, what you've been through, she's like, you'll be strong enough. You can overcome this. And that was it. I was like, great. So that is how I rolled into Reiki because I was so exasperated. I wanted to heal. So I had to search for what would work for me. And of course, I'd heard of Reiki. But yeah, and that's when I started with my Reiki journey and many other healing modalities. I was like a little SpongeBob.
Well, I'm thinking about like all of this life experience that you've had. And one of the things that I've kind of been thinking more about in the last year is the spirit of the concept of darkness
Mhm.
and the concept because when I was raised, we all kind of scoffed at the concept of something like demon possession or evil spirits or whatnot. But now that I'm older and I see that some people seem to have been infested with a certain spirit of darkness, that some people are able to remove that spirit from them and feel free. And that spirit of darkness can lead somebody to drinking or to violence or to perpetration or to any of these number of different things, but that some people make kind of psychological deals with darkness in order
Mhm.
to indulge some desire or what have you. And so what is it that you see in the way that humans navigate the spirits that are around them, either consciously or unconsciously?
Yeah, so that's an interesting concept. I did a video on that attachments because people that are in a fragile mode, that's what they attract. They attract these attachments. And so if your choice is alcohol, drugs, you name it, I mean, it's broad, and you have an attachment that comes to you and that smells that fear, so to speak. And in a past and in a former life, this person may have been an alcoholic. And so that spirit is attracted to that energy field. That is what happens. And yes, I can remove it. I have a really good friend in Florida, Kathy Michtek. She's an amazing medium, but she is incredible with removing attachments. That is what she does. And I see it. I I see it. If it's somebody really close to me, I can't help them. But if I see that there are attachments within the energy field and I'm able to remove them, then I can remove them. But it's very weird. I see them sometimes I'll see them as worms in someone's energy field. It's quite freaky. And other times it's just like, I don't know how to say it, splotches, but everyone sees them differently. That is just how I see them. Or it'll be heaviness within the energy field that well, sometimes that makes me, but it's quite phenomenal. And we don't realize it that we attract this because we are energy. That is what we are. So of course we can attract whatever um, energy that is attracted to us. I mean, I've had heaviness, I've had attachments before, and they have been removed. And you feel so much lighter after that.
You do, and we've all had people through our lives, and this is before I became like relatively spiritually aware,
Mm,
where I've kept certain people in my life out of just a sense of history, sense
mhm,
of loyalty and old friendship and so forth. And then more recently, I've really gone with the concept of that you are the mastermind of the top 10 people that you spend your time around and
mm,
everything. And I've had to look at who has been who have been the people who have reciprocated with the same light that I have tried to put out in the world. And I've feel like I've wasted a lot of light on people who just simply emanate not light back to me. Okay. And that when I'm around them, I'm annoyed and I don't have a
mhm.
sense of safety. I don't have a sense of reciprocal uplifting, if you will, right? And so I've dropped a lot of people in the last year because not out of any sort of sense of hate or anything like that, but just a sense of exactly in the last 20 years how what has been the overall effect of this person's energy in my
Yeah.
sphere, you know, and the evaluating of the people that are around you, the spirit that surrounds you is is really really critical. You know,
Yes.
it's really super important. And do you see that sort of thing too?
Yes. I dropped a lot of people. And I had to do that because I needed to learn to set boundaries because people walked all over me like a relentless cart truck and I was flattened. And so I really needed to understand that I was worthy, that I mattered too. And I've put boundaries in place. And it doesn't mean that I sometimes fall back because I do. And I've noticed that with work, for instance, what we discussed, because I worked like 70 hours a week last year and it became too much. I was out of breath. I was like, what am I doing with myself? What am I doing? It's soul destroying. And I really needed to really evaluate my life. And that's what I said. I go through experiences and I mean, I was in bad shape. I lost a lot of weight and I needed to put that back on. And now I just do my hours and I'm starting to shift my focus more into what I do love doing.
Hmm. I've also in the last couple of months or sorry years kind of gotten more into the concept of like really paying attention to the spirit that surrounds organizations or companies
Yeah.
or groups or religions or what have you. And that spirit is very evident in what those companies, organizations, or churches produce, the kind of people that are produced by them, the actions taken, the track record of them, that weirdly we kind of condition ourselves to ignore
Yes, we
in
do.
order to be affiliated with them.
Yeah. That's nicely put, affiliated with them. Yes. Do you know what's always run like a red thread through my corporate work? Being bullied.
Sorry, being what?
Being bullied in the workplace.
Oh, please continue.
Yeah, it's been like that for as long as I can remember. And even here where I'm at now, my manager's great, but somebody was just so condescending to me, so rude. And I said, I'm not working with this person anymore because I refuse to steep down to that level. There is no need for that. And I think in corporate companies, especially, there's so much ego bashing. It's unreal, it's toxic. And especially in the field where I work in oil and gas. But that doesn't mean to say that every company is like that. But there's just a lot of hierarchy, and it's not working in harmony with one another. It's not giving each other space. People are, again, opinionated and they think they know better. But when you work together, you can achieve so much more. And it's becoming very alien to me working in a corporate environment. I mean, I work remotely, so I sit in my own little bubble and just do my work. And that's it. So I don't get disturbed and I get things done. But I'm starting to realize more and more, like I said, it's not for me, but it is a means to an end to achieving my goals, my aspirations.
You know, one of the things that's become one of the secrets that's been revealed, if you will, if you would have said 20 years ago, the government can control the weather. Well, that's kooky talk, and you're crazy. And now the government of all over the world go, yeah, we can control the weather.
Yes.
Yes, we can do that. And they're
Mhm.
making it rain in places where it hasn't rained that much.
Like Dubai.
Dubai, exactly. And they're doing that out here in California because we're prone to droughts and so forth. And they're doing this sort of thing, but what it's also creating is more and more people going, wait, what's going on? What else don't I know about? And I've had a number of old personal friends call me because they're starting to freak out because they've learned a couple of things that they always thought were not the way things are, or
Yep.
they've always just either voted a certain way or taken in a certain number of kind of news or what have you, and they for some reason call me and go, wait, what's going on here? What do you know about this thing and that thing? And it's
Yeah.
something that I knew about 10 years ago, and as people begin to wake up, I'm seeing people kind of freak out at the enormity of new realizations about what actually is real and what versus what they've always come to believe is the reality of things. And
Mhm.
so what are your kind of recommendations for the heart, for the mind, for the soul, as people begin to wake up and go, wait a second, is my whole life based upon beliefs that are not real?
Yes.
How do people protect themselves?
So it's all about, people ask me this question all the time, but I always say, look, whatever you figure out in life and what's happening around the world, always work, always work on your inner world to change your outer world. That is the most important thing. Don't even bother with looking at the news. Yeah, there's stuff you can find on YouTube, on Rumble, of course.
Hmm.
But just take it in, but don't be overwhelmed. Don't live in fear. Oh my God, there's so much more with nanotechnology. Oh goodness. There are flip-floppers that I can tell you about. But I'm not going into the political realm. Actually, it's not political, it's Elon Musk, but
Hmm.
I've seen what he looks like in his other form. And
Okay.
he's a bit of a flip-flopper. He's good, he's bad, he's good, he's bad. He just
Interesting.
very, very interesting. But there is so much, so much. And people say, well, you have to go down the rabbit hole. No, you don't, because that will absorb your whole day. And then you'll be looking and looking for more and more and more. And then you'll just, your mind will become overloaded. And it's like, so just work on yourself, work on your own inner world to change the outer world. Because when you do that, you also inspire others to do the same. And it's not about what happens. Yes, it's what happens in the world outside of us. But like I said, just don't get overwhelmed. Work on yourself. And so, like for me, I don't care what goes on in the outer world. People say, but this is going on, that is going on. And I'm like, well, what's going on in your world? How are you evolving?
Well, heaven's sake, I know that I've done a lot of evolving over the last couple of years,
Yeah.
and it feels good at this point in my life to have a certain level of awareness where I see
Yeah.
things happening. I might shake my head, but I'm not surprised.
Hmm.
I'm not surprised to see these things, and so
You know, so for instance, like the States, America, I think I might have said this to you in a pre-interview. When you have the word America and you change the letters around, you rearrange them, you get I am race, because America is the forefront runners of the new golden age.
please say more about that.
Yeah, that was Saint Germain. I wrote about it. It's very, very interesting. And it's almost like, well, I mean, it's not just the US now. Many countries are changing. Many people are opening up their eyes and they don't believe what they're being fed anymore. And it's quite hilarious to see. It's quite funny to see. But for America, um, it's always been said the I am race. And so everything needs to go to pot, so to speak, in order for it to be rebuilt, but differently, where people work more in harmony and go back to living from the heart rather than the mind and rather than bashing one another. That's why there's so much chaos, there's so much division.
Right.
And I think it's a beautiful thing to see, because that is the way where people will start to think and, thinking, well, why is there so much division? Why are we bashing one another? There must be another way. And it's not going to happen overnight. It probably take
Mm.
another couple of years, but it's still beautiful to see. See, I see beauty in chaos, but that's just me. If you would ask me 10 years ago, I'd be going frantic. Oh my God, this is happening. But no.
Well, it's a lot like, you talked about the trauma for you
Yes.
that has allowed you now to understand in great detail the pain of other people, the wounded
Yeah.
healer situation, and I've had
Thank you.
traumas as well. And, we're seem to be going through a civilizational trauma
Yes.
that on the other side of it comes, I don't know, a new way of understanding, a new way of living, that
Mhm.
kind of thing. We have undeniable proof of tremendous wrongdoing all over the world
Yeah.
right now. And it's almost like we're watching this slow motion train wreck with each train has 600 cars on it. And you're like, well, this is going to get really ugly before it gets any better. But it eventually will get better. Are you seeing this as I don't know, like a civilizational cleanse or a
Yes.
seminal moment? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the revolution to a new evolution of mankind.
Oh my gosh, please keep going.
Well, that's what I say, but that's what I got. And it's just beautiful to see. It's like when you have the metaphor of this slow motion train, these train cars, 600 of them and slowly just crashing. That's kind of what it is like, because if it were to happen all in one go, people would be totally shocked. But when it comes into bit sizes, and remember, we have the solar flares, we have blasts of energy, so to speak, because many of the galactics that we do not see, or many do not see, they are helping us, because Mother Earth is also shifting her consciousness. So she's growing, she's expanding, like a child becoming a teenager and then an adult. And so when our clothes get too small, we need to get a new set. And it's kind of like with Mother Earth too. So she's expanding, she's growing. And so as she does, we too need to grow. And there are those that that think, no, no, we do not want that. We want to enslave humanity. And they're losing control, they're losing the plot. And I say to them, as you know, my guides say, the Raspberry Award, here you go. It's bombed in your faces. Because that is what's happening. And they're scrambling to hold that control. But they're failing miserably. And that's why I said this whole COVID experiment was kind of brilliant, because people were starting to wake up and doing the research. And more people are starting to do that. And they're willing to listen. And that's just great. I love it.
As far as like daily practices, things that people
Mm.
can do to um, really tap into their own light and develop their own natural gifts. What is it that you recommend people do?
Oh, there's various things. So when you just start out, I like to, what's good is to listen to YouTube videos from David Ji, and he is a meditation expert, and he has like 20-minute meditations on overcoming anxiety, fear, putting intentions out there, anything really, emotional healing. And the other one is Caroline McCready, and she does a lot of breath work. I like to do breath work because I think it's very, very important. But so is grounding yourself, where you can ground yourself standing on, with your bare feet on the earth. But what you can also do is one very simple exercise. It's where and it takes like not even a minute. It's where you just close your eyes and you sit yourself, you put yourself behind your eyes. And I always say to people, just imagine that you're sitting on a couch and looking out. And as you travel down, you go to your root chakra at the base of your spine, and you visualize roots coming out, or a beam of light. And that goes all the way through the layers of the earth to the center. And at the center of the earth, just imagine a beautiful crystal. And this is where you wrap the roots or the sphere of light around so that you're grounded. And then you travel back up to the root chakra and into your body, and then allow for that light to expand into your energy field. And when you do that, you are present in your body in the present moment rather than thinking in the future or reminiscing about the past. And this is where you can create. When you're so present within yourself, that's when you can start to turn your life around. But when you want to enhance your abilities or get more clarity, it's meditation. Meditation has helped me so, so much. And for me, it's just breathing exercises. So when you start out, you probably breathe from your upper chest. Yeah. But we should actually breathe from our root chakra all the way up to our crown chakra. And when you start, maybe you start with 4 to the count of 4, hold it for 4, breathe out for 4, and hold it for 4. And then when you get more comfortable with it, then you do the 8 counts. And I'm telling you, when you do that, it's almost like you reach that 0 point. And it's so phenomenal. I love it. I love it. And if you do not want to listen to like a guided meditation, listen to 432 Hertz, which is on YouTube. And it also, yes, it recenters you, it rebalances you as well. And you return to that calm within yourself. And how can that not be beautiful to start off your day with?
I just I'm gonna visit that because that sounds really interesting. I'm gonna try that. And
Yeah.
as we're working on like being here in the moment, okay, which
Yeah.
I constantly have a problem with because my consciousness generally tends to be really in my head. And I'm constantly trying to push my energy down more into the heart space.
Hmm.
rather than just thinking all the time, right? Can you talk about the influence? Why do past lives matter? What is the influence of that? Why do I care about that? Like, why does that matter to me right now?
because you carry remnants of it in this lifetime. So depending on what you did in another lifetime, you may meet characters in this lifetime that you have wronged, and they may wrong you in this lifetime. And I will give you an example that I had with my ex in Florida, where I went to see an Akashic record healer. And she walked me through certain past lives before I was able to do it myself after that. And in this lifetime, sometime in the Middle Ages, I was very well off. I must have worked with herbs because I was opening all these little things in the wall. And my ex at my partner in that lifetime in the Middle Ages, my ex in this lifetime, he poisoned me with an arsenic. And it was like a slow poison over several months. And it was all for him to climb the ladder. And it was too late for the people in the village to save me. And so in this lifetime, what happened to me is when I met him, very strange, I got so ill, Jeremy, I couldn't hold any food in. I couldn't even I couldn't even drink a cup of tea. But I was working. I went to work every single day and I'd be running to the loo and then coming back. And I lost a lot of weight. And so when I went to see her, she's my former mentor, Alania Starhawk, but she did not know that. And so when she walked me through that past life, that was so interesting because that clicked. And what happened is because the energy was healed from that past life, the energy in the outer world changed. So he left me alone. And that was really, really interesting. And so I could put two and two together. And so it is important to work on past lives because sometimes you just don't know why you're stuck in your experiences or why you suffer so much or why you're going through that pain. Yes, you can take responsibility, but it's still trying to figure out why maybe you can't let go of someone or why someone is so toxic to you or wants to do you wrong. Sometimes that really has to do with a past life. And trust me, I wasn't a goody two shoes in past lives either. No, I was an inquisitor in Peru. Gosh, I waterboarded people. I cut off people's hands. I raped an indigenous woman. It was horrific. I mean, I died of malaria. And I look back, and when I went through that past life, I cringed. But we play the goodies and the baddies. And
Mm.
that's all to do with duality and understanding. And yeah,
This person that came back into your life, was this
yes.
somebody that immediately had a negative effect on? I mean, you felt sick and everything like this. Was this somebody who felt antagonistic, somebody who was just generally negative from the get-go when you met them?
No, not from
Okay.
the get-go. He lost his mom and he fell into depression. He had a reckless, he moved from an hour away to two doors down from me, just became really possessive and he just couldn't figure it out. And it was very hard for me because I wasn't with him anymore, but he didn't understand that. He's like, well, when you love someone and when you have disagreements, you make it work and you learn to love that someone again. But I wasn't in love with him anymore. I just wasn't. I couldn't. I was, I was so far gone. I was in this fight or flight mode again and just working, not eating properly, and still having to pay his bills because he couldn't pay for them, trying to find him a job, and me working 7 days a week. It's insanity. But
Yeah.
that's the way I was wired. So even after that experience in 2009, my guides were going, whoa, we're going to send someone else to Brigitte, see what she does. Boom. And I did the same thing. And it got pretty bad. I mean, I sold my home to get away from him. And then he he was evicted and he found something, and he's like, oh, can you pay the deposit? I promise that I will pay it back. That didn't happen. And I mean, the house was a bit of a money pit that I got, and I was ripped off by builders, and yeah, it was a mess. But for me, I mean, I was pretty much, if you want to call it depression, I was probably borderline depressed because I was screaming at the universe, screaming. I was so angry. And I just said I needed help. And I was cussing and I was cursing and just lying on the floor. That's how bad it was. Honestly. And I don't really use those labels, depression, whatever. And people do take medication for that. And Archangel Michael always says depression, which I've written about, is really the heaviness of your experiences pressing upon your heart and mind because you're refusing to let go and balance the skills. And so it's very hard when we keep antagonizing ourselves and just bombarding our mind rather than shifting our focus and deciding to heal. So it took me a while. That took me a while. But, when I screamed and shouted at the universe, I got this little breadcrumb. And they were like, maybe she's going to see it this time. It did. It did. It did. It was in the form of my sister, and she told me to go and do Kambo. And Kambo is shamanic frog medicine. And it's
Yes.
super physical. Gosh. And so that was the start of, me burning to a crisp and really rising from the ashes like a phoenix again. And it's a continuous journey. It really is.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing that in a couple of weeks here, and I'm really excited about the
First time?
experience. First time, and it's going to be in the same weekend as an ayahuasca journey, and
Oh,
I am both excited and terrified for this experience, and I only know what I hear that I'm supposed to be experiencing, and so I'll have to tell you what it was like on the other side because I have no idea. I mean, we
so
know.
make sure that you take a clean pair of shorts with you and clothes, because honestly for me it was like, oh, as soon as he burned the points into my leg and then put the the frog poison onto me, it was in 10 seconds it rushed to my head. And of course you need to drink 2 liters of water, and you're just purging and purging. And I had to run to the toilet, and the shaman really had to help me because I wasn't seeing properly. That's just what happens. It's like you've got such a heavy flu and it comes out everywhere. But
Sounds
on the flip
delightful.
side of that, on the flip side of that, your mind becomes very clear. And it was so powerful for me. Yes, it took 4 hours because I was so set in my ways, and it was my ego battling so hard against me. And I made a whole bucket list. And so it was after that I mean, I went skydiving because I have a fear of heights. And I remember the guy saying, I was strapped to him, 13,000 feet. Are you ready? I'm like, well, do I have a choice? Down we went, and I was so scared. Oh my goodness, until the chute opened. And that's when I loved it. And it's really funny because, when you see the world from above, everything you see is very, minute or minuscule down on earth. And it's like, I was pondering that, we make, I always forget the expression in English. We make an elephant out of a mosquito. Is it a molehill?
Out of a molehill. Yes.
Exactly. Yes, we do that when we're right bang in the middle of something that we're going through. And when you see the world from up there, It's like you see everything from a different perspective. So that was really an aha moment for me. But that is after that, I my guides kicked me out the house and there was a fair. And that's, when I met Alania Starhawk and she walked me through my past lives. And from that point on, I mean, she had a workshop on how to channel. And when she did an exercise, it was a big group. When she did an exercise, a meditation exercise with light language, I don't know, she counted to three and I was gone. And then half an hour later, she counted back three, two, one. I was back in the room. So everybody saw something. The guides got messages, blah, blah, blah. Well, I got diddly squats. And so I was not happy. Oh my God, I was actually crying and I was just, wiping my tears away. And she had this exercise, and anybody can do this. But I think my mind was so far short anyway, anyhow. But says she said when she started, she just had a pad or a notebook and a pen. And she just said to the universe, I am open and ready to receive. That simple. And then she just started writing. So I took that on board, and that's when I went home and I did the same thing. So as I said to you, my mind was so far shot. I thought, what have I got to lose? And so I did, and it just started to flow. And when I look back, when I looked at it, it was like in old English. And I thought, whoa, this is great. I'm good at something. Trust me, I taught Reiki and did other workshops. This was something new for me. So I did it every day and I started asking questions. And then I took my cards and whatever card I picked, whether it was an archangel or an ascended master, I would just ask if they had a message to convey. And that's just how you start.
Real quick question. How you doing?
Yeah, good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm really enjoying this conversation. And I was wondering, and I never treat my guests as some kind of circus act or anything like that. Are you comfortable doing anything live with me right now?
Yes.
Okay. What do you feel comfortable doing?
Do you want to have a light language demo?
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah. So I'll count back in and then have you do that.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Five, four, three. I'm interested in how you work and how what you do, what it feels like. And so when you're talking about the light language and everything like that, would you do that here?
Yes. Yes, I would.
Fantastic. So what do I need to do?
If there's anything you would like to focus on or that would be important for your listeners, then just let me know and we can focus on that.
So I've recently healed some hurt, and
Mhm.
now I feel open and ready to embrace things that I'm working on and things that I want to come with joy and the right openness in my heart. And
Mhm.
I'm interested in removing any barriers that there are between me and that.
Okay. So I'm just going to break it down. Cultivating joy and removing barriers. That's the most important thing, right? Because when you remove that, and then the world is your oyster.
Right.
Yeah, we can do that. I just want to say it's really weird, but you have a whole line of guides on the left side of you and the right side of you.
Really?
Very interesting to see. Yes, I just saw that in my peripheral.
Sounds
It's
like a
yeah,
good thing.
yeah, it is a good thing. It is a good thing, which means you are supported with all the work that you are doing and will be doing.
Wow.
All right. So mm, for those that have never had light language, is this your first time?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I will start by saying, for those that have not had light language before, as I said prior in this conversation, you may not understand it on a conscious level, but your soul will understand the healing codes and the activation codes that are necessary for your soul's growth. So, what I want you to do is just close your eyes and take a very deep breath in, hold it, and release that. And take another deep breath in, full of light and full of positivity. Hold it and just let go of the heaviness and of the sludge. And as I bring through the codes, just keep breathing in and out. And if I get any messages, I will also tell you. Koniki si hatu kita nui tiki malasui tiki ama iala tikataya malasiki muniki alueta kayumani kia wasiki ama kukuya niki kui tikataka malawi nakasiki ama kupi alu yasiki ama u. Right now they're putting it as sifting through your energy. Tikataka miki ama kuni yasiki ama ku ina. Utayo wele kia mahaniki wala sumi ala kuku niki ya wa. Kia mahushiki ya pani wela kuki ya pa. Tika you must see wa ha. And they're working on the right side of your brain right now. Ini waha ini wake wa a. To te tia maluki yama siki yama u. Tiki malala loe niki wa a. They want you to visualize something. So just envision being in your mind and being in the archives of your mind and just opening these up for them. And whatever they will remove whatever does not serve you anymore and removing the barriers from within. Talo elele mai makiti makana wa ikiki mako ono wa he. Tani ni wi ya momo yini kia wa ha. Tu ya maku ushini mi ya wa. Teka we mai we ni si ya wa ha mu we ni ya wa he mu we. Ta we he nani ya sako. Ni wa he nuku malu we he nu wa saki ya ma o ni kia wa ho ya wa ini kia wa o. Oshishi malawi ati ma uni wihiwa a tikiyama ushikiyama o kiyama a. Then there are others working on your heart space as well. Ta kikiyama loa sa me ku ui ki anuele wa ki imikiyama hani ku ushikiyama ka a. Mi imikiyama ku itakiyama hisikiyawa he wa he ma kiyama onua he. And they're calling it as removing the locks within your own heart. Takiki amakino wahate hateke ata seka nueta no titi amatui misia waha iniki wa uniki waha. Also in your energy field, and this is really beautiful, they are putting blue light, blue light within you. And it's like particles of light. Sikia malue he ma inikia waha. Mo shikia takia ma anikia wahala wa hitikia ma ushi. Halo he tiki umia yo he ma yo kwese ya manikia waha munia. Kia ma le ma hatikia wa ushi tia ma hanikia ma tikia ma anikia waha And what they're doing as well is rooting you properly. Into the endeavors you will be undertaking. Takia masikia mahuya wa likia mahanikia wa hanukia ta. Tea maneka uya tikia mashushi ma ayawaha. Takia maka unakia matikia sakatea malaka wehe. And just feel yourself flowing with joy. Takia malaka taimiki siaka muku kukuiniki asikia. They thank you for being here. And they take a deep bow in gratitude. Kakiyamaka, sakiyamaka. And they say, whenever you're ready, whenever, no rush, just open your eyes.
Can I explain that?
Mhm.
So I opened old memories, old painful things, like a
Good.
flower opening up over my head.
Yeah.
And it's almost like I could feel picking through a toy box,
Yes.
doing this and
Yes.
being truly,
That's what
uh,
I saw them do when you opened it. It just, sorry,
so
yes.
interesting. Yes. And it's hard for me to be truly in the moment. And I was truly the whole time. And I was there and I could feel, my heart space and the joy was me. I've got a thing with ravens. I was a raven and I was flying with another raven
Mhm.
over where I live. Joy just circling around over the forest where I live. And yeah, what a beautiful experience. And part of me at the end going, okay, you got to pull it together because you're in an interview right now and you got to get back to,
Okay.
big brain Jeremy, right? But I'm like, I didn't really want to. Wanted to kind of stay there in
Yeah.
bliss for a minute, which I'm trying to kind of still sit with.
Yeah, that's okay. It's
Yeah.
very funny because they put a lot of, it's almost like blue light, but it's like blue crystals in your energy field. And that has to do with enhancing your communication skills. And I can't remember what I said it, something about endeavors. See, when I do it, I don't always remember it. It's so quick for me. But that was very, very interesting. Yeah. Like I said, I'm very humbled to do it. I love doing it because I get on a natural high too. It helps me too.
Yeah, I feel a little elevated right now. It's really
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you so much for working in my space. I really appreciate you doing that.
Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Yes. One quick question for you. That was wonderful. Whew. Um, quick question for you. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you really want in this?
No, we've covered a lot of ground today.
Oh, yes, we have. Yeah, I just don't want to leave anything on the table where you're like, oh, I really wanted to talk about this.
Oh, that might happen after the interview.
I know that's how it goes. Okay. Well then, I'm gonna ask you where people can find you, and that the links will be in the description and everything like that. And then I'm gonna kind of go into my close down for things. Okay.
Where can people find me in my skin? But on a
Go.
serious note, on a serious note, they can find me on my via my website, powersoulhealing.com. I have a YouTube channel, Power Soul Healing. And then I have an Instagram page called Universal Light Warriors. And I'm on Facebook, but under my own name. And I did have a Facebook page, Universal Light Warriors, but my algorithms are messed up. And so I've reverted to using my own personal page. And that works just fine. Not that I'm an overly, social media buff, but I post what is necessary. And can I just say a short thing about my books?
Yes, of course you can.
So the one that's been out since was it autumn of 2022 is Becoming Authentically Me, where I discuss the shift in consciousness and some of that we've talked about. Or with COVID, I also go back to the Second World War and it's all channeled. Everything's channeled. I go back to the Anunnaki, I go back to Lemuria, Atlantis. And the second part of my book is very much about my life and all the trauma that I've overcome. And it's infused with the many channeled messages. And some of it, as I've been told by people that have read it, it's like it's a book of healing. It's encoded with healing. which is, and I said, I mean, I was told to write it, so I have. It's for people to read it and they either resonate with it or they don't. It's a big book, but that wasn't my choice. Up there, they've got verbal diarrhea. So, and I talk a lot. I also talk about addiction. I talk about twin flames. I talk about the fact that there is actually no death because we're energy. I also discuss depression, mental health, the things that I did to myself and how I've overcome my own struggles, and that anybody can overcome and become the best version of themselves. And so my second book is called collaboration called Become Empowered, which was released 2 weeks ago. And the next collaboration should be out in July. And my book on India should be out later this year because I went to the Art of Living Center and it's all about the art of breath and meditation. And it's filled with the humorous channeled messages of the many Indian deities, but also the Ascended Master Saint Germain, of course, and Archangel Michael. And it's very lighthearted compared. I mean, my first book was lighthearted, but it's just pretty advanced. And this one is a bit more laid back. And yeah, I talk about relationship depression, suicide, because I lost, and even in my first book, I lost several people. And also in this book, and the joy of silence and how it helps you. What happens when we don't speak? Oh, it's amazing. It's really amazing because after several days, when you do start to speak, it's like you're hearing your own voice again. Wow. It's pretty profound.
Well, you're a very, very busy person. You have you have so much that you're offering the world and to people, and we will have links in the description for how to get a hold of you and how to find you. And I want to thank you for bringing your light and your story and your experience and your giving heart to my podcast. I appreciate you and the way that you give of yourself and your incredible gifts to the world. I enjoy your eloquence and your stories and the way that you have chosen to take natural things and heartache in your life, turn it around to help our very chaotic world heal one person at a time when consciousness is very fragmented and confused and very chaotic. So thank you so much for your light and your sweetness and your total giving in being able to be so open and vulnerable about things that are going on in your life and the things that you have accomplished and overcome. So thank you again for sitting down and taking the time to talk to me.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. Can I just leave you with a word of wisdom?
Absolutely, you can.
Sentence of wisdom, not a word. So when you start on your journey of healing, and remember this, you are not insignificant. You have purpose. You have meaning in this life. You were born with purpose. So never think so little of yourself because you are a beautiful light of the divine. And just let go of the labels you have created in your mind, this fear, this shame, this regret. What you're going through are just experiences, and life is an experiment to experience. And when you walk along that buffet of life, yeah, don't remain handing yourself the same plate with the same foods, but walk along that buffet of life and try different flavors because you're here to live and not to be lived. You're here to return to that wholesome nature of yourself. Yeah, to that joy, to that love within. So be kind to yourself, be compassionate, be gentle, but most of all, look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, I love you.
I think each one of us could be much better at doing that. It is it's a critical part of healing, and something that we often don't take the time to do for ourselves. And so thank you for that. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me, Jeremy.
Yes. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the Mindful Mutiny podcast. And remember that in a lifetime, there are more decisions than anybody could count. Living the highest form of yourself is the most rewarding thing that you can do. Make incredible, positive, risky, and bold decisions to be the highest version of you. Now go be something great. All right. That's our podcast.
Oh, awesome. I loved it.
Yes, my God, thank you. Thank you for you. That was rad.
Rad.
That was rad. Well, I'm from California, so I have to say that's hella rad.
Hella rad. Okay. Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
How were we on for? I don't even know.
I'm sorry.
How long were we on for? Oh, an
Oh,
hour.
we
45.
were on for an hour and a half. We were talking for a little over an
Hour
hour
and
and
a
a half.
half. Yeah. Doesn't seem like it does. It seems like 20 minutes.
No, it was very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Very, really, kept going in a positive direction. And, I'm sensitive to my guests knowing when a person might be running out of gas, but you never did. You just kept going,
No,
and
no, it's
so,
so much.
yeah,
And sometimes I will get stuff through. So that's why I say, I get stuff through, and yeah, it's like second nature to me.
well, and thank you so much for your loving, um, reading of me. Um,
Hmm.
and I'm really honored by it. And, I had a healing earlier this week, with a shaman that, just
Ooh,
really, really did an amazing job of unhooking me from, some stuff that's been really bothering me, right?
good. Hmm.
And, grandpa showed up, and, it's interesting because grandpa, when people are reading me, grandpa shows up at different times. And I asked
Yeah.
this shaman, I said, was there a smell associated with this spirit you saw? And he goes, yeah, tobacco. And I'm like, yep, I know who that is. I know who that is. So, he said that grandpa, um, is a really strong spirit guide for me.
Yeah. Hmm.
So,
So you have a lot of them, because I don't think you realize right now the work that you're meant to do. It's not just doing your podcast, but it's standing up on stage.
I'm uh I'm at a point in my career where I finally feel like I'm embracing that piece of me.
Mm,
I've
good.
always let myself sell out. I've always
Yeah.
gone to the big dollar job.
Yeah.
I've always gotten swooped up. And in the past couple of months, I've gotten job offers that
Hmm.
would make me real comfortable, right? And I'm just like, no, this is what I always do. This is where I always go. I've got to stick with this. So
Yes.
that's where that's what I'm committed to doing. So
Yeah. Good. Yes. You get that. I mean, I
well,
can see it. So
I appreciate it, and you are beyond lovely. And, please, let's stay in touch, and in whatever way we can serve one another.
yeah.
I would love to do that. I love your energy. I love your mission, and, in whatever way we can support each other, I'd love to do that.
And there is I think there is somebody that's setting up an event next year. I don't know where in the States, I think in California. She's from Malaysia, and we were talking about it. We were bouncing off ideas, but it's gonna be she's putting it together. She's gonna put it together. But I think you'd be a great fit for that.
Well, once you know a little bit more about it, I would
Yes,
love
then
to
I
hear
will
it from
tell you
you.
because we're right now in the brainstorming area ideas. But I
Yeah.
do want to ask you this. So, my book on India is going to have what do you call it? Um, beta readers or whatever you call that.
Of
So
course,
I need
yes.
beta readers. So if you want to be one, I will put you on the list. And once the webs, because it's in editing right now, so it's going to be like probably June, July time.
A thousand
Um,
percent.
yeah, and I will send it to you. And then yeah, because the testimonial can come on the back of the book as well.
Oh my goodness, I would be wonderfully honored to have that. So
So
yeah,
yes, I will let you know. I will let you know.
that sounds great. I hope that you have a wonderful evening, and
You too?
give someone a few little scratches behind the ear for me.
Oh, she's sleeping. She's dreaming, so her paws go like this. She's a weirdo.
Well, fantastic. You be well, okay?
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Oh, by the way, when is it gonna be out?
Oh, excuse me. I forgot all about this. Okay. Um, so I'm so far ahead of myself that this is going to be late September, early October.
All
Um,
right.
and I'm going to, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to send you an email that's going to give you a date and a title. And
That's fine.
then 2 weeks ahead of the time, I'm going to give you two reels that you can start
Oh,
sharing
cool.
about
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
your interview and stuff like that. And then, the morning of, which it'll be a Tuesday morning out here,
Okay.
and that you can start sharing it, obviously. So yeah.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. But do stay in touch.
I absolutely will, and thank you for everything.
You're welcome.
All right.
Enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend.
All right. You too. Take care.
All right, bye.
Okay, John, I am going to record my beginning. Brigitte Visser. 5, 4, 3. Hello, friends. I just finished a really incredible interview with Brigitte Visser. 5, 4, 3. Hello, friends. I just finished the interview that you're about to listen to by Brigitte Visser and her amazing journey from trauma to embracing many of her incredible natural spiritual gifts. I feel really elevated right now. Her energy is so strong, and you're going to hear that. What is the meaning of our existence? In what ways do beings that we can't see influence the way that we live, the way that we think, the things that we do, the experiences that we have, for better or for worse? She talks about this sort of thing. This is the kind of work that she does to help people like you and me embrace our authentic selves. She is an author, she is a speaker, and she can work with you. So enjoy this wonderful episode of Mindful Mutiny. Okay, that does it.